Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game 3, Round 3 of the series here. This is going to be 120 SPM versus Freakbob's Fenthouse. I am Boy Blue, joined in the CoCast booth by Scape GT.
Hello.
So, Team 1 ANS is going to be 120 SPM, consisting of Solace, Backline Fan, which is Notes, Mildly, and Iris. You want to tell me who's on Team 2?
Yep, Team 2, we got Freakbob's Fenthouse here, Cosmic Eradicator, Spy Eye, and Lost Leviathan here. We are deploying here on Tombstones. This map was chosen by Freakbob's Fenthouse, who did lose the last one. Total is 1-1. This is the deciding match here. Taking a look at deployments here, looks like 120 SPM is doing their Topaz strat here with the amassed low-cost capitals, beamstones, and capper assets. All deploying relatively low here. Not a lot of stuff high up.
Slight change up. We had a bit of a false start as the server had a bit of a hiccup there, and we called for a rehost. Bit of an error on our part. Sorry about that. ANS now coming along with a carrier, switching it up from their what was previously 6 Axfords. Now looks like it's 4 Axfords, a battleship, and a carrier, along with their cap fleet consisting of a bunch of beam destroyers and corvettes.
On OSP's side here, I'm still seeing the Moreline brought by, or the real Cosmic, the 100 obelisks. Are we still using those? Yep, 100 obelisks by the fake Cosmic. Spy Eye is still on the camp fleet, and I am seeing in a cello.
Looks like a cello pair in there? Yeah.
A cello pair. No, it's. Yeah, no, that's an cello pair. Brought by, looks like Lost Leviathan there, who has a slightly incorrect fleet tag, and makes it easy to see what they're bringing.
All right. Just waiting on one of the Cosmic Eradicators to ready up, and we'll see where this goes.
Knowing the Cosmic Eradicators, this is a deliberate strat to just make the thing as long as possible.
All right. On deploy, I'm watching one of the 250 liners come in. You want to read off ANS or OSP?
You do ANS, because you were starting with that before.
All right, fair enough. Tombstones is a pillars-like map, 2 natural points per side, so let's see what they brought. Notes is coming in here with a levy, the bonus oceans. This has 8 bombers, a sundial, and then a handful of fighters. Only a dozen fighters in this, so that is going to be their carrier here for the moment.
Relatively cheap levy to make room for the rest of the fleet.
Yep. Missing one hangar bay potentially there. They've got a beam destroyer deployed down low, very cheap on this thing. A beam destroyer overwatching Seaside. They've got one towards the B point, and lastly a naked fringe capper, completely empty. Actually, completely empty of everything, not even including the mag on that one. Iris has got themselves a 450 battleship with a launch pad on the backpack slot there, usual cheeks, antenna, comms jammer, etc. Missing the top half of this thing as they're keeping out as well. This is Parallax, not a track-correlated spyglass. They have got themselves a beam destroyer covering the C point here. They've got 1, 2, 3 naked cappers, 2 of them seaside, 1 going towards B. Mildly comes in with the first of the, what do you even want to call these, like, Volta, Voxels, Creepbirds, Pit Bosses?
Pit Bosses, I believe, is the term for these.
Yep. Very cheap on the damage control, but at the same time, these are incredibly beefy health bars that you can tank a lot of lighter munitions with. We'll see how effective it ends up being. 2 of them, along with a beamstone, a naked capper air, first in their deploy zone, and then they've got their launch pad fighters getting up. Solace, similar style fleet, might actually be the same fleet. Yeah, looks like we got a duplicate of these Axfords here, although they've got a beam destroyer and only 1 fringe capper, so slight different tech there. That's going to be the ANS.
Taking a look at OSP, the real Cosmic here is the one who brought the carrier. This is lots of bombers, lots of Barracudas. I'm seeing some R2 Piranha rockets in there. Not as much as a dedicated Piranha Strike strat, but still enough. Those bombers are going to have a heyday against those capitals. Up next, Cosmic is bringing the same 100mm obelisk liner fleet they brought in the first one. 200mm liners here. No complex and no reinforced DC lockers. That's going to be really rough. With 2 Ruddles spread across the map for some rushes onto the enemy. Levy with the front line here. We have a double Ocello up top. Pretty standard build by the looks of that. Raider drive, Whiplash. Yep, pretty standard stuff there. These are deploying high. And lastly, Spy Eye with the cap fleet. 250 liner. With Rocket Backpack.
Rocket Backpack.
Yo!
Oh, that's going to be a sucker punch.
Interesting. A early warning tugboat up top, and a Ruddle, which is already under fire underneath a rock here as Solus flanks low. We also have a bunch of one other Ruddle on the flank, and the rest of the fleet is gun cappers and one cringe capper here.
All right. Interesting deployment here. OSP not bothering to go for A point, knowing that there is going to be beam destroyers overwatching. Oops, audio crunkle. Hang on a second. That's my audio end. Sorry about that, folks, in the recording. Just let me fix that real quick. Minor technical issue. There we are. That should be back to normal. There we are. All right. Yeah. Listen, chat there. Martyr of Carrick saying, rocket liner, my kind of beloved. Yeah, would you please give the rocket launcher some gun depression so we can obelisk them correctly?
Anyway,
Not a nitpick I have because I can never get them to work.
Talking a little bit about the Topaz fleet comp tech here. This is a totally integrated fleet comp style of building here. The idea behind it is that everyone supports every front of the engagement, both frontline and the cap war. The cappers are split across all the teammates, which means that there's less pressure on a dedicated cap player, and the frontline can more easily do double duty there. And the fleet is designed to work in conjunction with the other ships here. Spy Eye gets a
Ruddle commits underneath the map, trying to get shots out, and actually has a couple impacts. Not getting through the armor, though, and they will die to 120 RPF very quickly. Interesting little tech on these Ruddles. Mount gyros in the yard drive to try and do a bit of dodge dance and angling there. This is going to die very quickly to all of that RPF.
Yep, the RPF
has a reactor bloom going on as well, so potentially may catch those Axfords if they get too close.
These Axfords, I bet, are just going to continue their push. This push low underneath is likely a way to try to put pressure on any backline that OSP has. Levy up top, starting to re-pivot the Acellos, likely going to try and pivot them back. Crimson from Cosmic Eradicator is a... that's ASF.
This is air control with Saw,
yep, it's getting
HE Frag, and Loom Pod.
Right now by Iris, as one of those Barracudas, curiously enough, takes a little bit of beam fire there before dying. That's incredible.
Probably was just a damage tick thing not quite lining up.
Right.
We always have a little desync with fightercraft.
Anyway,
120 RPF will pepper them a little bit here. Beam as well catches another one here. The XXL Aurora is in position. There we go. Another one taken down.
We have a fighter engagement on the flank here as Dragoon Squadron wipes out Bolt Squadron there. Bolt was the escort for these bombers, I believe, but the close range saw S1s shatter that coil gun
Bolt
Tonto
gets
Squadron.
taken out from that. Broadsword flight of bombers, R2 Piranha rockets, and R3 Spearfish. These are just your kind of standard rocket strikers. They will get found by Duster in a moment here.
These are likely going to commit onto the Beamstone, although that Beamstone has 6 Tontos guarding it. Adamant staying back in reserve, although has been target locked, and ANS knows it's there.
Daggerflight secondary is on standby. They are on the interdiction duty
to support the engagement from Broadsword. As Broadsword, although it is going to go down here, they do manage to get a strike through. Pretty inaccurate, though, against this Beamstone here. Those were Spearfish.
Can we talk about maybe the jamming there from Daggerflight coming in and causing those to whiff badly with poor track quality on that?
Signal error, yeah. Adamant now withdrawing.
Strike attempt, and the carrier sees them off. This is part of the importance of having a carrier.
Oh no! Reactor bloom onto Mildly's Axfords.
Told you it was going to go through. One of those is going to get cooked. Two of them decently
One of them,
toasted.
its armor is pretty degraded. Unfortunate start for ANS right there, as one of their Axfords is completely armored down, completely negating the point of its existence.
Can we talk just about the number of heavy cruisers under this map? They are going for the underside safari like you used to see in Pillars back in the day. That is 4 Axfords, 2 of which have been decently torched. That 100 mil liner, if it can get into arc, is going to have a field day. Same with the 250.
Yep.
The 250 liner with rocket backpack against these weakened armor.
Osnapar has already pivoted onto Solus's Axford here, the one that was guarding A, and you can see that fake Cosmic has already pivoted their other liner down through Echo to try and intercept these Axfords here. Meanwhile, Levy
starts up on one of them, gonna find purchase, maybe. Oops,
Adamant Squadron strikes with the rockets. They fire at the one that has the armor stripped. Those are all gonna end.
And that's a lot of damage.
Only 2
Many
bombers.
of those actually getting wasted because of the empty compartments from the tops. No, actually, the strip's upside down. Never mind.
Yeah, that knocks out the CIC too, which means that Axford is unable to support this engagement against this 100 mil bulker here, as it gets really nasty broadsides into Solus here. The Axford, though, is
Fox
a pretty tanky
on
ship,
standby
even if
looking
it
for
is
it.
a cheap ship. It does
A-cap goes on now. Spy Eye drifts onto the point. Beamstones are not quite in position yet.
The Beamstones are being suppressed by the Acellos up top, are able to just keep 450 fire on them and keep them tracked and under fire. A might be able to go through there, though.
One Beamstone does have arc here, but they're not quite. There it is. Finally gets the latch on at the last second. Flat facing here, they managed to tank it with the mag for a second, but the CIC does get sniped. Will they survive here with a small...
not with the beam on them.
Small gets gunned out.
Valiant A-cap attempt. Not going to work out here.
Does explain why we didn't see the A-cap attempted in the first place. A lot of fighter engagement going on down below. Talon flight here in the backpack slot. Those coil guns going to clean up one of the scouting skiffs there. A lot of RPF going to try and see off the other one. 100 mil exchange here from Cosmic as they're getting peppered by the 250.
Hornet Squadron is ASF diving for the escorting fighters here to probably open the thing up for Foxhound here. Foxhound is torpedoes, piranhas, and KBU-22s. If those get purchased, that's a dead Axford right there.
OSP wisely holding back their bombers right now. They know that once they clean up this fighter escort, most of these
the
Axfords
double
have
engagement
little to no point defense.
From the 100 mil obelisks on one of the Axfords here. Unfortunately, Plasma did not get bite enough on this Axford for that 100 mil to pin. Although I believe that these Axfords are probably
Plasma's starting to add up on the one face now.
Plasma being fired
Hornet in the mix. Lightning Flight on standby nearby with their own coil gun. This is becoming a bit of a furball. Foxhound commits while the fighters are tied up. One of Talon Flight is still alive here. Might go for the intercept. Coil gun, I believe, should two-tap a bomber, but they'll run out of ammo before there's a run out of bombers.
Lightning Squadron
Talon gets jumped on by fighters.
Up Dragoon here. Dragoon gets in close range with the 20 mil. Mops up a lot of those
20 mil against these
fighters.
coil guns. Coil gun, if it can get the snap, will one-shot a fighter here, but
and SDM-200s from one of the obelisks in support of Dragoon here, as Dragoon, a heavily damaged squadron that's out of missiles. I think they're going to mop up Lightning here, despite Lightning being a Coil Tonto squadron. Very impressive fighter engagement there from
Foxhound gets the dump. There is Torps out on target. Acts ARAD Val on most, if not all. Nope.
Radar not off! Radar not off! As Solus did not MCOM.
That is...
A lot of those torpedoes
actually
are going to hit.
Not that bad. Most of those
Foxhound
get hit into the tower, I think. Or
Foxhound's going to follow up with the bombs. No, never mind. They are
bombing run here, actually committing on target since there is no point defense on these full green.
No dedicated point defense on these Axfords means that these bombs are probably going to get through as this Axford. Oh no! The RPF! The 250 RPF from the supporting Axford.
Fratricide in effect. One bomb finds its way through. Will impact center stack. Takes out small locker. Potentially going to see this thing DC killed here as they're restoring their belly gun. Hornet Flight taken to the skies again. They're going to see off these ANS fighter craft there. ANS not having the staying power. Coil guns running out of ammo, and their health bars are gone. A lot of action taking place underneath the map here as the 100 Maliners have isolated Solus pretty far down here. Solus beat up badly, needs to take some time to repair, but...
Mildly holding position by A.
Spy Eye gets a ruddle into the backline. Notes potentially okay here. Does get the beam and survives it.
There was an early track on that ruddle, probably, and...
Looks like they took out one of the other beamstones. Judging by the life pods about 40, 50 seconds ago here.
Yes,
it might have been a second strike.
That was likely ANS's indication that there was a ruddle there, although the loss of a beamstone is still a valuable gain for the OSP team here. The Acellos still up in the top, really unsure about what they really want to be engaging right now, I think.
Acellos want to put pressure on, but they're just not quite sure where to go given the situation.
With the BB. The thing is, the low push here with the Axfords, although the Axfords are now out of position, so is OSP's A denial tools here. As you can see, these obelisks and stuff are busy engaging the Axfords, not guarding A. ANS not really capitalizing on that, though, as they mostly stay back with their cappers. Their cappers are pretty valuable in this team comp. Not a lot of them.
Torps out from the bombers on ANS, but they will get killed. That means the CMD may not go through here. No track held for Cosmic Eradicator.
They're going to blind fire with the 2 hits. This thing cannot be taking torpedo hits like that. It has no ability to restore after a devastating hit like that.
We saw in the first round there, this ship was crippled by a torpedo strike. They got very lucky this time around. The nose of the ship not taking a hit.
Assassin Squadron commits onto Mildly here attacked A-Ride Val from, like, A-Ride Val range. Those are going to hit. That ship did not MCOM, and that is another Axford crippled as Assassin.
Surprisingly, some of those missiles just straight whiffing. I'm wondering, were those...
Those were Therm Val.
Yeah.
Mildly failed to soft kill the A-Ride Val, but the Therm Val they did properly soft kill by pulling back, so they went for chaff.
Looked like they had just gone completely wide there. I'm wondering if those maybe were set to reject or something.
Possibly.
Assassin Flight comes in for the flank with R2s, lining up for a bombing run
Those are the
here.
Bombs. 250 RPF attempting to
side
cover.
potential.
Will it kick in, or will these hit?
RPF rounds go wide, targeting the
wide.
bombers
They're
instead
firing
of the
at
bombs.
And that Axford's going to take some massive bomb hits.
That is
a
crippling damage. This thing is combat ineffective.
Cosmic doing a really good job of dropping those bombs from an off
Shrapnel
angle.
Flight in the back line going to find torpedo strikes onto Cosmic Eradicator here. This is going to get tanked mostly by the snoot of this liner. Let's see how this impact goes through.
Enough, though. This thing has no reinforced DC. Ooh. It does tank. The nose
very
does
lucky
tank.
Tanking on that.
Very, very lucky. They cannot take a follow-up hit, or that liner is screwed without any reinforced DC. The battleship, though, you can see here, Iris has actually pivoted fire to supporting those bombers. Target lock on Cosmic's 100 mil liner obelisk there, and is trying to get the finishing blow there. Rocket Squadron commits onto the bombers, making sure that they do not return home. The Acellos, once again, just kind of not really doing a whole lot right now.
Acellos and Battleship exchanging fire for the moment, but they quickly retask, realizing they're doing nothing to each other.
Here comes the Atlas Secure from ANS. I was wondering when they were going to try this. The 100 mil Obelisk relatively out of position to deny that. Busy with the Axfords, although they have gutted the Axfords quite a lot. They are way mispositioned to try and do something.
Spy potentially had an arc there, but unfortunately not the case right now. ACAP may go through here. Both teams have been tied on points and caps at the moment. Spy attempted to push towards B, but got seen off by a beam that did not have lock, so it missed on the bad track quality.
Cosmic's 100 mil Obelisk that could be guarding A. It is rolling. Will it get gun on target in time? That is already halfway to the cap. I do not think it will. I believe that this is likely going to
burn
be
through detects on A point. Notes apparently confused what their coil toes are doing, is they're dogfighting incredibly poorly here. Rocket Flight is going to clean up on this. That is going to be a kill. ACAP, though, is locked, is getting shot by Spy Eye as they come around the corner. Not in time.
It's a cringe capper. It will survive. Unguided bombs out from Claw Squadron here. Those will likely be dodged at that range. Cosmic trying to dump those as early as possible to try to get the kill. But yeah, no, it would appear
Spy Eye forced back from some of the flank angles there. Was not in position to cover this. Same goes for the Cosmic Eradicator 100 mil liners. ANS sneaks the ACAP, making this now a 3-2 game, but OSP has been taking some very good fighter engages. ANS got to be bleeding on the craft count. Taking a quick look at the carrier, it is empty. What you see, what you got.
Whoa, yeah. The only fighters that ANS has left are the ones in the air right now. Cosmic doing an excellent job of winning those fighters engagements, even against those coil toes. It is now OSP's game to use their fighter advantage to try and dislodge those beamstones and to allowing them to get an A attempt here. Although Mildly has double 250 liner. Look at this! Backline fan, Notes, gets the flank with the beamstone onto Cosmic's 100 mil obelisks. That thing flanked around. Spy Eye attempting to help with the 250 liner as well as the other 100 mil obelisk here. But
Cosmic Eradicator getting eradicated, middle of the ship, going
restores.
For no restores left. Yep. DC complex not found.
Yep, as that beamstone.
That is a yeah. That's
ANS
a 4.8 kilometer strike. Gonna call that. This liner should have survived had they gone to the DC complex. Instead, decided to try and do the greed angle, double storage so you can restore all of your guns. In turn, they're gonna pay for it. Notes will lose their beam destroyer here, but still that is a trade up in the points department. Spy Eye and Cosmic will be able to capitalize on this out of position.
Taking a look at this as well, the BB has pushed into over A, forcing the Acellos back. The Acellos curiously staying as a group. They should have probably split up early on to try to get crossfires on the BB, but they have not committed on that. Shrapnel commits a strike
Rocket
onto a
strike,
beamstone
onto that destroyer.
Yep. That is a beamstone dead at A, although there are still 2 Greedfords and a battleship, as well as 2 more beamstones in the backline overlooking A right now.
Talking about the Greedfords angle, though, Mildly is effectively on one Greedford. The other one has, well, it's got a pair of Mark 61, so this thing is just a super large Capper Corvette. The still alive Greedford is the one that has absolutely no armor. Solace was seen off in the bottom side of the map, and they are looking pretty beat up, although they can recover a little bit. One of their, I almost called it a liner. one of their Axfords is decently put together now, just needs to get into the fight.
These Acellos...
This is still a very weird game.
Yep,
We are
it's still
currently 404 to
anyone's game right
374 on the
Both
board.
teams have advantages and disadvantages. We will see which ones pay off in the end. Right now, mildly friendly firing Iris's Cringe Capper there, trying to get 250 RPF into Battery Squadron, which is flanking around with torpedoes here. No, not torpedoes. These are R3s. Mamba Squadron is ASF. Gonna try and support the push into one of the beamstones here. Although Mamba flies into the point defense arcs of the BB. Mamba immediately diverts.
Is,
yep.
Ooh, almost gonna catch them. It does get a little bit of scraping damage on one fighter,
Kills
which goes
one.
down.
Battery trying to get around here to get some of those beamstones down, although the 250 Axfords are still going to be a problem for OSP here. Most of OSP's liners, although they did reposition quite well to deal with the push from the Greedfords, they are now hopelessly out of position to try and push onto A. The battleship took full advantage of that and pushed forward, now guarding the A point quite aggressively, and what's left of Mildly's Greedfords have now repositioned in that trench there by A to deny it as well. Spy Eye does attempt to send a gun camper here to B, although it gets detected and annihilated here. You can see it was Notes' beamstone there, which is now pivoting pretty aggressively through that little side there between B and E. We will see what happens with that.
So many different ships going on around here. Levy kind of hanging back in the OSP's deploy zone right now. They're guarding E point against Solace, potentially pushing through here. At the same time, the battleship much more aggressively positioned, trying to capitalize and get onto those liners if it can get arc.
Unsuccessful strike from Battery Squadron there. Attempts to get rockets out on this beamstone here. Whiffs most of them. That is unfortunate. Only a couple hits is not enough
Couple of
to
impacts
disable
for
the
what it is
beamstone.
worth. Does deprive it of some of its health bar, but nothing it can't recover from. Let's take a look at Cosmic Eradicator and their munitions count, shall we? They still have got 8 torpedoes and 24 piranhas and 8 spearfish. So in terms of strike, they have some, but that's not going to be enough to really threaten the battleship. I think their best call at this time is to try and take out these beam destroyers and then just have the battleship be the single heavy asset left.
Levy probably mispositioned.
Hang on a second. Fulcrum flight here getting beamed.
Yep. If Fulcrum, Cosmic probably not paying attention to Fulcrum here, as that entire squadron is going to get annihilated by that beamstone. Yep.
Gone.
Anyway, probably a little bit of a skill issue from Levy right now, pivoting down. They need to push over the top to support their liners into the A point there. They are way out of
Havoc
position
flight
to do
100
pretty
mil
much
will clean up
anything.
the Cringe Capper that headed towards A. Good usage of the bombers here. 100 mil is incredibly cheap just to bring as a checkbox. 1 point in your more line, you can get this very effective asset.
It would be really funny if Cosmic has 100 mil HEHC. Ooh, if Cosmic knows...
Actually, 100 mil HE going after the wrong one of these, they will actually get some bombs
no, those
on
are
target
bombs.
here. Potential. Hang on. Some good impacts there.
Kills it.
That's enough to kill it.
And there's bombs going through the other
Second bombs
one.
going out
Those
here.
ones are going to miss, though, as that that Axford has radar drives and just able to dodge. But
all right, here's
the bomb
next
follow-up as
bomb
well.
strike coming in, potentially
this
drifting
be enough?
into it. That is going to be a lot of damage. No restores, so half the guns on this thing going to take...
Restores.
Yeah.
It's crippled, but not out. Cosmic would have also gotten Viz on that Axford. Pivots the 100
Comes around
mil.
the 100 mil.
Will this do enough damage to disable this Axford?
Shouldn't be enough to break damage thresholds,
No,
but still enough to red out a little health bar here and there.
As Havoc is just going to withdraw. Cosmic knows that the thing is armor stripped and will likely be sorting something to deal with that. A point now suddenly a lot more open than it was before, although the battleship is still there. Levy needs to start. Is that another bomb out? More bombs out from the squadron. This Axford with no responses
the belly
for that.
gun, depriving this thing of its offensive power.
Axford. Yeah, A is a lot more open than it used to be now. There's still a couple beamstones overwatching it from back in the
Mark
back.
61's all that's left on these.
The loss of ANS's air wing here really starting to add up here as those strikes start to get through. Unfortunately, OSP really deathballing here in a really bad position. Levy pivots downward and probably shouldn't have done that. They probably should have been pushing over the top. Since the
Levy just not able to get into arc for this. They are grouping up with their liners, so if OSP decides to just kind of shove it right now that most of the Axfords have either been seen off, crippled, or just otherwise in a bad position outside of the combat zone, OSP's Death Ball could realistically just surge through the middle of the map and take this.
But
Beam destroyers are still a threat,
they
but
need to do
with
that,
100
though,
mil,
is the thing. Right now, they're just kind of sitting there. Levy pumping the brakes. OSP needs to push here. I don't know what they're probably trying to coordinate a push right now, but they need to.
I think OSP's lacking sensor awareness is a big thing. If you look at it, they've got a lot of their
Another
assets
bomb
that are
out from
close to
Havoc.
rocks.
Another bomb out from Havoc. They still have bombs in there. That is another hit in the Axford into the core region there. Still does have a couple of those secondary batteries still firing, so this Axford is still a threat to cappers. But yeah, OSP needs to begin pushing here. The liners from Cosmic potentially starting to push out here. Levy also kicking on the thrusters.
One of the liners from Cosmic is crippled. The other one is intact. It only has 4 teams, so it will take a while to repair. Also, the lack of DC complex means they don't get the speed or repair bonus.
Havoc Squadron just chilling in the open. Now they're on RTB right now. There they go. As they return to the
Might be a
carrier.
pathing issue. This does occasionally happen depending on the octrees of the map. Thankfully, we have a implementation. So if they take, I believe it's 150% of the return time, they will just teleport back to base. Look there, so we'll see
Cosmic
if they get stuck in the rock or not.
Dragoon Squadron flanking over east side right now, probably trying to find that beamstone that annihilated all of their fighters. Meanwhile, yeah, it's really on
Solace
to
top of the map going towards D point with a capper here.
Oh
Might
no!
try and sneak
Havoc
that
Squadron
back cap.
getting beamed on their return flight. They're on RTB pathing right now. They cannot evade that.
Ooh, that's going to be rough.
Solus
Not
flicking
that
the
much
B
left
short,
in terms
though.
of strike, but same time, losing bombers for free, never a good sign.
No.
4 bombers getting equipped now. Havoc Flight takes another loss there. And another one.
Yeah, the beam is going to mop up Havoc. Unfortunate.
Solace able to capitalize on that. 450 shots out.
Ooh, here we
80
go.
rounds
Here's
were
the
loaded.
push.
That's
Here's
it.
the push that we assumed was going to happen. Levy pushing up with the Acellos. Target lock on that beamstone. The beamstone firing its beam reveals itself. That is 450 AP though going into this. There's the switch to HE. Levy gonna try and zone out these beamstones while Cosmic does the sacrifice play.
Still AP
with
rounds
that
on
liner.
one of those. Potentially trying to go for a punch out in the drive section or something.
All they need to do
Otherwise,
is
those
knock
shots
out the
just
beam.
missing.
They really want to do HE. Perhaps not realizing
May
that
just
one of them's
be a
firing AP.
fire order misallocation.
It appears, yep, OSP is now beginning their push here, realizing that,
Rocket strike from the
Ruddle
shuttle, gonna
from
find
the back,
it in the flank. Guts
knocks
that
out that
destroyer.
beamstone. Mildly still has a beamstone guarding A. It is not detected. It is starting to pivot out right now. The Acellos, though, will those Acellos be enough to deny? The Acellos pulling high. They're going to get out of arc of that beamstone. Mildly is detected.
Cosmic
Beam
Eradicator
is
sends
prepping
their
to fire.
basically combat ineffective liner
Spy Eye
onto the
also
8 point
pushing
here.
out as well. 250s were firing at that that beamstone here. The battleship doing its best to try and deny A. The liner is heavily damaged. This thing, it's not going to be
Beam Destroyer spotted as it tries to guard 8 point. Those 450 shots are going to fly out.
Going into it, but its beam is turning. It's going to try and deal with the Ruddle instead of A. Trusting the BB to deny A here. Will it be enough is the question. Meanwhile,
Bombard
Cosmic,
flight on approach towards 8 point. They've got themselves torpedoes loaded. Here's the glitter
the
bomb.
liner goes down. The liner goes down. It was severely injured. The 450 from the battleship. able to
Heartbreak
finish it up.
here. The singular pike that could running down these bombers with its superior
Those are the last.
speed
That's
gets
the
into
last
combat.
of ANS's bombers. And the Ruddle gets a double kill. The other beamstone killed. One beamstone still
Goes to
active
show the
on
power of
ANS,
these rocket
and
assets
all of a
against
sudden,
destroyers when
the
flanked.
game has begun again. The BB flanking towards A to try and deny it. Cosmic sending their
Battleship
still
steps
happy.
on. Rocket backpack getting into position here from
Ooh,
Spy Eye.
Spy Eye
as the 250s
reading
are
the
going down.
reading the rocket backpack here, mildly flanking their crippled beams or Axford onto the point, trying to deny it with what they have left. The match is suddenly begin
Rockets
here.
are
It is
huge
up
to fire. The turrets are turning. The backpack
Rockets
is
out.
sprung. Whole bunch of launches here from the
friendly
back.
fire the liner almost as they begin to
Front
make
of the
purchase
battleship
into
will
that
take
axe or the
light
beam.
damage.
Will it be enough, though, to get through this? The Acellos have pivoted fire. All they need to do. C-Point getting captured in the back. The beamstone's gone as Spy Eye sends a cringe capper here. A cringe capper sent in to deny that
D-point
as well.
about to be capped as well as Solace looking to step onto that. Both teams trading their naturals at this stage. Rocket Liner is, I
being
believe,
contested.
heading hold locked or something. They need to
pivot,
rotate
yep.
this thing and get the broadside shot in a second. Battleships and Axfords on here. The Axford, mostly
Rockets
a decoy, has a
without
little bit of
fire
fire.
order. There go the rockets into the broadside of this BB. Spy Eye was waiting for the right moment as all those rockets are going to slam into the side of this thing. Defender's doing a pretty good job of mopping up a lot of those, but that is going to be a lot of damage that goes into this battleship all of a sudden.
Weakening the armor is definitely a
simultaneously
stake here to enable
a flank
250.
from Cosmic from below with their healthy plasma obelisk here, as this BB suddenly gets TOT'd from multiple angles. Dagger now going to ANS as Solus does step on. That ship is on sensors. All that's left is the carrier over here to deny that. The carrier has a deck gun. Cosmic needs to pivot that deck gun over to Dagger immediately. Meanwhile, Assassin also strikes as well on both targets. Torpedoes and rockets into
Torp's going to be the end of that battleship, as it
is
crippled.
down.
And a reactor bloom to top it off! There's no armor on this point anymore.
A reactor bloom annihilates the squadron that was coming in for the bomb follow-up. Blooms onto Spy Eye. Spy Eye likely swapping to HE right now. Holy fucking
100
shit.
mil liner
This
from
match
below
suddenly
against
just began
stripped armor capitals.
After a long time of nothing happening in this game, everything has started to happen all at once. ANS taking A, C point being contested. There are 2 combat effective ships on the point, no one wanting to spend anything there. The Levy now moving onto the point to get the kill here. Dagger does go to ANS there. Cosmic does pivot the deck gun over to the ship on Dagger. 100 mil coming out from Spy Eye's offensively armed orbital sensor tug. Very nice tech there. Dagger, though, will be held by ANS. Will ANS be able to hold on to these points for long enough for their points lead to carry them to victory here?
Trying to commit support now onto the A point, but little too late on that. Their RPF
secured.
rounds will hurt these strips.
The Axford is gone, and the Axford is also going to reactor bloom. In 50 seconds here, the BB completely gutted. The Acellos with nothing stopping them. The Acellos need to start pivoting about on to Solus's Axfords, which are now pushing in. Spy Eye kills Notes' last beamstone here. Holy shit, everything's happening all at once as the push suddenly begins.
At once as both sides just full commit to this A rush, and the entire game just completely flipping around here. Hard to say exactly who's taking the better of this. ANS, I think, might just be out of it, actually. Taking a look at this score count here.
We will see if they have enough to hold on. Dagger being resecured by OSP here as they step back on. You can see Cosmic is flanking their 100 mil obelisk towards C to retake it. Cosmic is sending one of their cappers from C to B to try to put pressure on that. We do have 2 cringe cappers on a Boxer, though. You can see here Iris and Notes are flank speeding them back onto the point.
There's Reactor Bloom on the A point once again, briefly.
That battleship is gone.
Everyone.
The liner taking significant damage, though, on A. As it goes CIC down, the Axfords now pushing in. Levy needs to start pivoting fire onto those Axfords, stop them from getting onto A. One of them is, the one that's flanking to A is broadside on. Does Levy know? Levy needs to swap fire to that one immediately in order to stop the A-cap attempt here. These Acellos are perfectly healthy.
Levy gets the bow onto the one that actually has guns,
There's
able to
the
tank
C-cap,
hits effectively.
C-cap going off. E-cap being captured by ANS here as they send a empty cringe capper onto E right next to the Acellos. Levy needs to split up those Acellos ASAP.
Night Flight is going to find a capper in the back line with some size 1 saw strike there.
If they can get a strike on that Boxer capper, they can potentially take B here. Still anyone's game. This one's going to come into the last second.
872 on the board for ANS does put them ahead of the 686 for OSP.
A is at pretty big risk of flipping here as the healthy Axfords pivot on the liner that was on the point is pretty crippled. It got reactor bloomed on multiple times. The Acellos are going to be forced to stay on...
Acellos have swapped target now, as you said.
They're going to be forced to stay on E. They are trying
to
damage
trying
this,
to go to ground, but needs to step onto the A point to contest here.
Yeah,
C-cap is going to stay neutral.
Spy Eye needs to split here.
There's just nothing there.
To deal with these Axfords. Getting 450 HE into the belly of that Axford, though. How much strike does Cosmic have left? Cosmic, out of strike, does have some 100 mil. C point being contested as the carrier steps onto the point. ANS is going to hold C for the time being.
Carrier is taking a lot of damage from that 100 mil liner, but it's bow tanking pretty well right now. A lot of empty space in this.
ANS, all they need to do is hold on to that point advantage and see if they can tick over on their 2-cap they have here.
Cap situation looking like it is currently a 3-cap. E point is contested as Levy will step onto that to prevent the Axford and
This
capper.
Ruddle on Boxer is empty. There needs to be a strike on Boxer if OSP takes the point and wants to take the point here. I believe that
trying to go for this.
OSP needs a 5-cap here, I think. As unfortunately, Cosmic still issuing the liner moving away from C. The Levy is not dead. A under threat as Levy just commits to holding. Yeah, Levy needed to flank onto A.
From being capped there.
As that Axford's going to step onto A and begins to cap the point. The liner on A, completely combat incapable right now.
Yeah, liner is missing. No, it has its magazine.
Instead,
this one has complex.
This might be a last
rockets
second throw.
coming out here.
It might be a
what
last
the hell is
second
with these
throw
rockets?
from...
Oh, desync there.
This might be a last second throw from OSP here.
A-cap is secured here. Solace is beat up pretty bad. E-point is...
liner... No.
ANS holding B and C-point, I think, will win them the game here.
Yeah, that liner's not going to be able to kill the carrier. This is going to be a last-minute victory from ANS. There needs to be a strike on something.
Unless they can get this cap in a second. Wait, hang on. C-point gets the
C-cap.
snipe on the weapons.
That gives them time. That gives them time to get a strike out on Boxer.
Yep.
There's a KBU 15 strike
here.
out on Boxer. Night Squadron flanking over the top. This may be it. That capper on Boxer is not moving.
If Iris is not moving, then these bombs will find them.
If that happens, OSP's going to secure the 5 cap here and might be able to win. What needs to happen right now is Levy needs to send one of those Acellos flank speeding towards A ASAP to make sure that Axford doesn't take the point. That liner is not going to be able to hold.
Bombers coming in now. Night Squadron is on target.
They're on
target. Do they
target.
have commit order? Yes, they do.
That chip is not moving. That chip is not moving. The bombs are out. Will this be a kill? This might be the clutch.
What?
If this disables this thing's combat
automatically.
capability.
They try and move at the last second, and one of them is
just
barely going to miss.
Knight still has bombs, though. 6 bombs follow-up. They wait for it to dodge, although they commit to the strike
on the approach angle there. Can't get the command off. They're
More
trying to go
rockets
for
into
it.
the Axford.
A
strike onto the Axford at A ensures that OSP will take A. These bombs need to strike onto this thing now if OSP has a chance at winning.
Right now, OSP with a 4 cap, I believe, will actually win this so long as they hold on to it. Bomb attempt goes off there. Night Squadron, I think, is too close for the bombs to release. Yes, they go for
Night
a
Squadron
pass, but miss.
needs to back off a bit to get that through. This is going to be an extremely close tournament match.
E-point cap is safe. A-point cap is potentially under threat. Liner is pretty beat up. Same time, though, okay, 100 mil from Cosmic Eradicator is going to clean up on the A-point side.
ANS calling GG!
Yep, that's going to be it. No way back in for
ANS
them.
is
That
surrendering.
will mean that Fence
There's the
takes
surrender.
it.
Freakbob's Fenthouse with a last-minute victory here on Tombstones as they take this little match here 2-1. Incredible game. Nail-biter to the very end. This was probably the best tournament game I have seen in a very long time. Excellent place from both sides there as... Oh my god, that push from OSP nearly came too late for them to retake things as they are just barely able to take the cap points in time. ANS bled so heavily on assets there. That battleship dies in an incredibly quick time once everything commits onto it. And, oh my god, what even happened there? Early on...
Such a strange game. The quad Axford greed push underneath the map, the reactor blooms, the strange fights, Levy rotates down, the bombers attempting, the sky's a mess of fighters as both carrier players go at each other.
I think the deciding
truly
factor
a comedy
there,
of error series is just a million things happen in many different ways.
Notes with the ASF Levy, Gates, pretty much all of their fighter engagements were unfavorable as they just get bled out on their air support, leaving all of the beamstones and all of the capitals, which have no defenses against strike, completely vulnerable. We saw that Cosmic pulled over 50k damage with that pretty much pure spearfish and a little bit of torpedo carrier there.
Pull a respectable amount of damage against some of the targets.
They are able to just
14k.
hit those priority targets.
15, actually.
We saw without the loss of the sensor assets as well from the carrier, those being the 2 sundials, allows multiple Ruddles to get behind on ANS there. Very, very decisive hits into those beamstones there. And then the...
Such a strange game, overall.
This one was back and forth the entire time. A little bit worried there. OSP gained a really big advantage very early on, but unfortunately, their push almost came too late. They deathballed their low A and just didn't do much. Levy, with those Acellos, was out of position for most of the time. In retrospect, Levy should have probably split those Acellos a little bit earlier there, although it did work out for them in the end. A was actually at pretty big risk there of swapping back to ANS late game as that Axford gets onto the point. The lucky rocket strike from both a Ruddle in conjunction with the remaining rockets on the liner did manage to kill it enough for to buy them time, as Cosmic did send their last 100 mil liner to support A. This one was a back and forth the entire way. Multiple things that could have decided the match happened, and that was just one of the greatest tournament matches I've ever seen.
I don't know how to call that one. As halfway through the game, I was just trying to figure out where half the ships were, as everything happened at once all of a sudden.